Hey guys, before we get into Sens Stonks, the final episode, just a quick message here. Derek Lee, a really known member of Sens Twitter, his daughter Jada is really sick right now. She's fighting really hard, and they need our support. Really, they need some love. If you guys, check out his Twitter. Make sure you keep up with what's going on because it's a very important situation. And as well, there's a GoFundMe in the description of this video, so if you guys can donate at all, that would be appreciated. But guys, please just go support Derek Lee and his daughter Jada because they really need it right now. And with that, enjoy Sens Stonks number 5. Welcome to episode 5, the season finale of Sens Stonks. I am your host, Noah Luden, and today I'm ready to recap the last season of Ottawa Senators hockey. But before we get started, please make sure to follow Sens Talk on Twitter at @SensTalk_ for quality Ottawa Senators content. And a couple things before we start. Use code SensTalk at SeatGeek.com to save $20 off your first purchase. Great deals on tickets, guys. They're coming back, especially for those American folks. But they're coming back. And so, use code SensTalk on your first purchase for $20 off USD. As well, make sure to get your new May issue for the new Faces magazine. Magazines are offered for free in grocery stores and in select locations across Ottawa. This month's issue features a cover interview with Mark Mathot, who, with his show with Brent Wallace, that new hit show, the Mark and Wally show, which is just awesome. I've watched every single one. They discuss it and how that got started. As well, the new May issue also features interviews with Gord Wilson, Megan Chayka, and Alex Mateus of the Red Blacks. Also, don't forget to follow Faces on their social channels for great content, crazy contests, and more. At Faces Ottawa for Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. But guys, it has been a wild Ottawa Senators season. A lot of things have happened, and we're always going to start with the goalies. And so we're going to talk about all of the goalies. We're going to be talking about the entire roster today. Maybe a little bit not as in depth, but we're going to be talking about everyone, touching on every single player and how I think their stonks are right now, really. So we're going to start with the goaltenders, and, I think it's best to start with the guy who's played the most games, Matt Murray. He had an up-and-down season, obviously. He was very stingy at the beginning, not great, not much was going on. He got injured, Daccord played games, Forsberg played games, Gustafsson played games, and then he came back, and he wasn't bad. He was actually really good, and he almost returned to form, but overall this season, I say his stonks went down from when he started, but it's like a big asterisk, but Matt Murray, he will be better next season. He ended the season phenomenally. He did finish with an 893 save percentage, which isn't great, but when you take into account that his first save percentage at the beginning of the year was like 870, he has improved those numbers. He had 2 shutouts this year. He really improved his gameplay throughout the year. And so hopefully, with consistent 900 save percentage performances from Matt Murray, or even shutouts from Matt Murray, hopefully he could be that solid number 1 goaltender because we need him to. Look at that contract. We need him to. Just touching briefly on Marcus Hogberg, his stonks just crashed, essentially. He is not going to be on the Ottawa Senators next year. He was already told that he was not going to be getting a contract extension. So he's probably going to be going to free agency, looking for a backup job somewhere else. But, wish him the best. He had a decent couple years, just couldn't quite develop the way Ottawa wanted him to. Next, we'll talk about Anton Forsberg, who we claimed off waivers, and, interesting piece, Anton Forsberg. I was kind of skeptical when they signed him to an extension, but realistically, it's a 1-year extension. He's probably going to be like the 3rd or 4th goalie in the rotation. I'm not really that mad about it now. He has a 909 save percentage this year in 8 games rather, and he was pretty good, pretty solid this year for a goalie. That's basically what we wanted from him. He's like a 3rd string goalie, so getting those numbers is pretty good for Anton Forsberg. And a 321 goals against isn't great, but we're the Ottawa Senators. What do you expect? But Forsberg, he played pretty well this year. We'll see what he does next year. I don't expect him to have a main role on the team, though. Joey Daccord we'll talk about next, and he also played 8 games, and he got injured, and that ended his season prematurely, unfortunately. He played all right. He had some good games, some not so good games. I want to see him back in the minors, I think, next year, regardless of, what's going to happen in the expansion draft. I want to be seeing him in the minors next year. I think he just needs a little bit more seasoning. He hasn't had as much time to grow in the minors as the next guy we're going to talk about, Filip Gustavsson. But I think Joey Daccord can be a really big piece. But I think I would put him ahead on the depth chart, ahead of Anton Forsberg. And Filip Gustavsson, his stonks, they're rising. They're skyrocketing up because he was phenomenal this year. In playing games, 9 games mostly against teams that are hungry for playoff spots, like the Toronto Maple Leafs, like the Winnipeg Jets. They're trying to get playoff seeding, Montreal as well. He had a .933 save percentage in 9 games, a .216 goals against average. Filip Gustavsson played phenomenally this year, and I hope that he's the backup. I think they will be. I think he will be the backup. I think that Ottawa's going to protect him in the expansion draft. Filip Gustavsson is the guy to watch for Ottawa as the future goalie. We have a lot of prospects, but it's going to be very exciting to see him play next year in a full 82-game season. Let's hope. Now for the skaters, I'm just going to look through forwards and defensemen. We're going to take it by the most points to the least points on the team. And, some guys like Michael Haley aren't really going to get talked about. But we're going to start with Brady Tkachuk, obviously. He was the point leader on the Ottawa Senators this year by 1, but still 56 games played, 36 points, 17 goals, 19 assists. He played phenomenally. Stonks, up. Not really much you can say. He's the captain. He's the next captain for the Ottawa Senators, 100%. He is the heart and soul of the franchise, and I'm ready to see Brady Tkachuk get a new contract and just up the swagger game one more notch, and Ottawa's are going to be really good soon. Surprisingly, Connor Brown tied for second on the team with points. 35 points this year, 21 goals, 14 assists. Connor Brown, Stonks, rising. They're rising a lot. Connor Brown, a phenomenal surprise. He had a lot of shorthanded goals. He had that big goal streak, and he was just awesome for the Ottawa Senators. I loved watching Connor Brown play, and 21 goals. Maybe you never know what he can do consistently in an 82-game season. But great stuff from Connor Brown, and he's definitely part of the Sens' future. Josh Norris is the other guy who was tied for second in points. He had 35 points as well this year, 17 goals, 18 assists, so a little bit more balanced in the goals versus assists. But Josh Norris, again, Stonks, up. He was phenomenal this year. He's a Calder candidate. I don't think he'll get it, but he's definitely a Calder candidate. Phenomenal gameplay this year from him. He looks like a complete number 1 center for the Ottawa Senators, and I'm very, very excited to see what he can do next year. Drake Batherson is next, 34 points this year. So a lot of the top guys, it's 36, 35, 35, 34. So it's consistency throughout the lineup. That's what you like to see. It's not like Brady Tkachuk is heaps ahead and then the rest of the guys are lagging behind. Drake Batherson, 34 points this year, 17 goals, 17 assists, right in the middle. He's even on goals and assists. Awesome. He had very good games for Ottawa. At the beginning of the season and maybe in the middle of the season, he was a little bit inconsistent, but towards the end, he found his consistency, like a lot of the top guys, like Norris as well. He found his consistency. He's definitely a true NHL talent. He's a big body, can play physical, but also, can score goals and can get points for your team. So Batherson, again, he'll need a new contract, but he's going to be awesome as well. Probably a bridge contract coming for him. That would be my guess if I had to put my money on it. Now, a guy who we don't need to talk about getting a contract, Thomas Chabot. He had a good season. He had a good season for the Ottawa Senators, from that standpoint. He had 31 points this year, 6 goals, 25 assists in 49 games. In that sense, Thomas Chabot had a good season. Points-wise, he missed the last couple games because of injury, but I think Thomas Chabot had a good season. There were some defensive lapses, but I'll be honest, Chabot didn't really get much help. It's not like Chabot's getting paired with Zub, and Zub's been playing great, and Chabot's not. Like, Chabot's been playing with Zaitsev, who started very well for Ottawa, but kind of tailed off a bit. Had a little bit of a late resurgence. He scored in the last game, but Thomas Chabot was good. I'd say I was happy with his performance. I didn't need him to be playing 26 minutes a game. I'm surprised that that's his average, because I've seen him play 30 through 31 minutes like in a game. I think he needs to play a little bit less, but I think Chabot he was my pick at the beginning of the year to be the captain of the team, but now I think it's Brady Tkachuk. But Chabot's still a very important piece, and seeing those Sens games without Chabot, it shows that he is needed there. He's a workhorse. He can take a lot of minutes. He doesn't need to, but he can take a lot of minutes, and I think he'll be a lot better next year because a lot of the defense of the Ottawa Senators, that defense core, they've sort of found their groove, and so they're ready for, again, an 82-game season next year. Now we get to talk about the German sensation, Tim Stützle, who had 29 points in 53 games, 12 goals, 17 assists, and of course, you can't talk about Tim Stützle without talking about that hat trick. The hat trick he had, and it was awesome. And of course, you have the video of the fans throwing their hats over in his backyard with Brady and Norris there. That was also funny. Brady's in his pajamas and everything, and it was awesome. Stützle, he's gonna be awesome. I'm not even close to worried about him. Stonks up. He didn't have 53 points in 53 games, like the most sensational rookie ever, but he is a special player. You see him on the ice, he makes phenomenal plays. He needs to shore up his defensive play a little bit. His Corsi stats and all those advanced stats are not good for the defensive zone, but man, is he a special player, still offensively gifted. So as long as he works on his two-way game, matures a little bit, he'll be okay. He's 19 years old. Don't worry, his defensive game will be fine. Evgeny Dadonov, I'm surprised he's so high up on the Sens point list. I guess he's 7th on the Sens points. I don't think he had a good season. His Stonks are down. They signed him to a 3-year deal worth $5 million per year, and he gives him 20 points in 55 games, 13 goals, 7 assists. I need more from Dadonov. He had a couple of good games. Obviously, the game against Toronto when Ottawa came back from 5-1 down. He scored the tying one and the winning one. He had a couple of other 2-goal game performances. But that just shows that he wasn't as consistent as he should have been this year. A lot of games he's invisible. He has not been good defensively. And he was brought in to be the power play sensation, and he did not. He had 1 point on the power play. And it's just stuff like that that makes me not be happy about Dadonov. And it wasn't even a goal. It was an assist, power play assist. And so Dadonov needs to be a lot better. His Stonks are down, but they can be rising. There's been a lot of other depth in the organization that has, carried his load a little bit, but he has to really excel next year if he wants another contract in the NHL, really, because right now he's not really playing like a second-line scorer like he's being paid as. Nick Paul, the Nick Paul train, his Stonks are up. He really found himself as an NHL player this year. He played all 56 games. A lot of the Senators did, which is awesome to see. A lot of longevity. The Brady Tkachuk, Connor Brown, Josh Norris, Drake Batherson, Evgeny Dadonov played 55. Paul played 56. It's awesome to see that, the top guys aren't getting hurt. Chabot had a little injury at the end, but it was just precautionary that he's being held out. But Nick Paul, 56 games. His Stonks are up. He had 20 points this year as well. 5 goals, 15 assists, and when you compare 20 points from Dadonov getting paid $5 million in a year to Nick Paul getting paid $1.5 million a year, also getting 20 points, way better plus minus. Nick Paul is a +5 for the entire year, so being a +5 on the Ottawa Senators, that is awesome. And that's another thing for Connor Brown too. Connor Brown was a +1 this year. Dadonov a -9, so Nick Paul is definitely the more value player. He's a big guy. He puts 100% effort into every shift he does. He had more points on the power play than Evgeny Dadonov this year. I'm going to stop dogging on him now, but man, we need more from Dadonov. But Paul, Stonks are rising. He was great. Now, an underwhelming piece, I'm surprised that he's so high, but Chris Tierney, 19 points this year in 55 games, 6 goals, 13 assists, and he was a little bit depressing. There wasn't a lot there from Tierney. I needed a little bit more. He has 1 more year on his contract, I'm pretty sure, and the way it's looking, I don't think he's going to be kept around much longer than that, because of all the young talent that is coming up. But who knows, maybe he can have a rebound season, and he'll be okay, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's not a part of Ottawa's future plans. But I'd say Stonks are down on Chris Tierney. Colin White, compared to last year, they're stagnant, but, man, we needed a good year from Colin White, and I think at the beginning of the season he had it, and he kind of just faded away. He had 18 points in 45 games, 10 goals. The 10 goals is nice, but maybe if he had 10 goals, 18 assists, and 28 points in 45 games, we're a little bit happier with Colin White, but that's not the case. He had 18 points, 45 games on an 82-game season. That's like 35 points. It's not enough for a guy like Colin White, drafted in the first round. We needed him to be more. He still is going to have another chance. He has a big contract. I think he can fill that role, but it wasn't his best year this year, so he really needs to rebound. Nikita Zaitsev is next. 17 points, 4 goals, 13 assists. I think 3 of those goals or 2 of those goals were on an empty net. But hey, they don't ask how, they ask how many. Nikita Zaitsev, I'd say his stonks are they're pretty stagnant, I'd say. Nothing crazy. He had an up and down year. Started great. In the middle, he was not great at all. And then he ended off on a pretty solid note, scoring a couple nice goals. Especially against Toronto in the last game against his former team, but not too bad. He played a lot of minutes, 22 minutes per game this year, almost 23 minutes actually. Minus 13 on the year. It's on Ottawa, 55 games played, so he had the longevity. He had the durability. He didn't get hurt that much. So we'll see what we can get from Nikita Zaitsev. I don't want to be seeing him playing top minutes with Chabot because I just don't think he's that kind of player, but, had a decent season. Definitely not, he's terrible, get him out of here, get him out of Ottawa now. But he definitely had a decent year, and we'll see what happens next year. But stagnant stonks. Artem Zub is next for the Ottawa Senators, and he had a phenomenal season. Stonks are up on him for sure. Zub is one of the best defensive players and defensive defenseman really in the NHL this year. He, in terms of like the advanced statistics, he played great. 14 points in 47 games. He didn't play for the first few games because they got benched for no reason, but that was a while ago. We're okay now. Zub, he is definitely good. I'm excited to see him as a future part, and he formed chemistry with Mike Riley. We were able to flip Mike Riley for a good pick. Now he's forming chemistry with Eric Branstrom, and Eric Branstrom is looking good. He's actually the guy we're talking about next. So Zub stonks up. Branstrom stonks up. He finished the season strong. He finished the season looking like an NHL defenseman. He looked good with Zub. I'm very excited to see a full season from Branstrom. He only had 13 points in 30 games, but that's not even bad for like a rookie-ish defenseman like Branstrom, playing not many minutes on the Ottawa Senators. Definitely good for Branstrom as well. Austin Watson, we're going to talk. So the next few guys we're going to talk about a little bit quicker because they're the depth guys and rookies who haven't played much. But Austin Watson definitely stonks up. He had a good year. He got injured for the rest of the year, which is unfortunate. 34 games, he had 10 points. Not even terrible for a fourth-line guy like Watson, but again, it's the block shots. For when he was in the league, the day he got injured, he led the league in block shots by forwards, and it was not even close. And Austin Watson just shows the warrior mentality that Austin Watson has. He was great this year. Hopefully he could be that fourth-line guy next year as well. But definitely, he came around the Sens fans, and Sens fans definitely grew to like him. Ryan Dzingel, kind of a depth guy. They traded for him. The trade looked okay in the beginning. Six goals, 3 assists, 9 points in 29 games this year. He played okay. It's kind of disappeared a lot of the time. I wasn't, I never really found myself saying, wow, great play by Dzingel. That wasn't it. But I don't know. I hope he doesn't take up a spot of a young guy who has a lot of potential. I don't really see him much as a Sens future. I think he just came back for a little bit, a second go-round, but I don't think he's going to be staying that much longer in Ottawa. But, he played okay. Definitely didn't play bad. Anisimov, Stonks, I'd say they're stagnant. I think he might have been playing his last game as an Ottawa Senator. He had 19 games. 2 goals, 7 assists, 9 points. That's not bad at all for a guy like Anisimov. He played his heart out. There's the whole Artie goalie thing. That was pretty funny. But he took a lot of spots away from guys like Colin White at the beginning of the year, at least. And he played a couple games towards the end. I don't think he's going to be a big part of the Sens' future in the next few years, but I don't know if it's it for him in his career. He's only 32 years old or 33, so I don't think it's it for him in his career, but I think it might be it for him in an Ottawa Senators uniform. Shane Pinto, Stonks up 12 games, 7 points. That's all you need to see. 1 goal, 6 assists for 7 points in 12 games. He was a +6 on the Ottawa Senators. He only played 12 minutes as well, so really in a lack of minutes, Shane Pinto looks like a real guy. He looks like a real NHL player. He does not need to get seasoning in the minors or anything. He looks good. I'm excited to see Shane Pinto again in a full 82-game season. He's a special young player coming up from North Dakota, so I'm very excited for him to, get a full season, maybe be on the top 6 with all those other young, phenomenal, talented players. But Shane Pinto definitely stonks up. Formanton stonks up as well. He had a decent year. Again, not much. He didn't play much. 20 games, 4 goals, 2 assists. He's speedy. He's speedy as heck. He's really good on the penalty kill. But that's... He wasn't phenomenal. Like, listen, he didn't have the best season ever, but I think he's definitely earned a spot to be on the team next year. He definitely looks like he belongs in the NHL. Again, didn't play that much this year, like 12 minutes average in the year. That's not great for a guy like Formanton, especially a guy who's on the top penalty kill. But I want to see him, being a top penalty killer. Another guy who with a plus 6. He was a positive player, I guess you can call him. Formanton definitely had a good season for Ottawa. I'm looking, there's some of the stats of some of these players who didn't play much. Victor Mete, only 2 points. He's not a point getter. I want him to be a point getter, but definitely stonks are up. He found his spot in Ottawa. He's definitely part of the future. Plays 17 minutes average in the year, so 17 and a half average TOI, so definitely good for Mete. Stonks are definitely up on him. Good stuff from Mete. We didn't expect too much of him because, Montreal kind of just cast him away. But we definitely liked what Victor Mete had to bring to the Ottawa Senators. So he had a good year. He's definitely going to be back next year, and he'll be a part of that young defense core. So hopefully he can upgrade his gameplay just a little bit. Again, a plus player for Ottawa, +5. So a lot of these guys that we brought in towards the end of the year, they're playing phenomenally. Victor Mete is one of them, and I'm happy with Victor Mete. The last guy I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about Jacob Bernard Docker. JBD, 5 games, no points, but it's okay. Plus player. He played only 13 minutes per game, not much. I think his stonks are up, though. I think he played like a confident NHL player. Listen, he didn't get any points, but it's 5 games in your first NHL career. He's playing basically on the third pairing. He'll be okay. I don't know if he'll need to start the beginning of the season in Belleville next year, but I think if he has a good training camp, then there shouldn't be a reason why he's not on that defense core next year. But he's a special player, and he's going to the Worlds, which is awesome for him. So that's another stonks up for Jacob Bernard Docker. And one more we'll talk about quickly, Parker Kelly. I just want to shout him out. Scored his first NHL goal in his first NHL game. Awesome to see. Didn't play much. He's just a guy to look out for. Maybe he'll be a fourth-line guy. Who knows? But, first NHL goal in his first NHL game. That's awesome to see. Parker Kelly, congratulations to him. And another shout-out. I want to give a shout-out to Craig Anderson. I know he's not on the Ottawa Senators, but he came in yesterday against the Boston Bruins in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Vitek Vanacek lets in a goal, stretches his hammy, gets injured. Craig Anderson comes in, and he wins Game 1 for the Washington Capitals. I loved it. I was wearing my Anderson jersey, and I was going crazy. I'm a big fan. And Craig Anderson, stonks are through the roof for Craig Anderson. So it's awesome to see for him. And I was excited. I was excited to watch Craig Anderson play some playoff hockey, and I'm still excited because it looks like Vanacek's out for a decent little bit. But guys, with that is the season of Sens Stonks. Thank you very much for watching. I'm sure there's going to be more content for you guys. Leave a like if you like this video, and consider subscribing if you enjoyed it. And as well, turn on the notification bell so you can get notified when our videos go live. As well, follow Sens Stonk on Twitter at @SensStonk_. And as well, if you want to follow me on Twitter at Noah_Luden. Guys, there should be a Sens Forward preview or Sens Forward review, season in review, coming soon to the channel as well. That'll be from Brandon. But guys, I appreciate you coming up for Sens Stonks. I appreciate all the criticism, all the support. It was awesome season. I can't wait to do it again, and I can't wait to do more content for you guys. So guys, again, thank you so much for watching. A little bit of a longer episode today, 23 minutes. So I appreciate it, guys. And of course, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.